What you doing, Otaku? I'm DAC, and just the other day, I went and saw Promare, Redux, and 40X. Uh, so, first, I want to talk about the whole 40X experience. For the theater I go to, yeah, it wasn't that much more to do this whole 40X watching experience, and it was a neat experience. It was really fun. Um, but what it mostly amounted to was just being shook around a lot. There's, of course, a little mist, smoke cloud kind of thing, and but yeah, there wasn't much more than that. At one point, it looked like it was raining, but maybe that was the lights and the mist just mixing. Who knows? But it was really fun. The entire time I was watching, I was on the verge of laughing just because being shook around all over the place was just exhilarating, honestly. But there was one thing that disappointed me, and it makes no sense. So a Promare is pretty much uh, futuristic firefighting, is what I've been saying. And I think that pretty accurately describes it, because I was saying that even before I saw the movie. And for 40X, you would expect to feel some heat from the fire, but anytime there was any fire or anything, it got colder and it got mist. I don't know what they expected. The only thing I was like, maybe this is to be like it's putting out the fire and doing this. And I don't know. I was trying to make excuses for it, but I expected there to be some heat, even though I hate the heat. So I'm complaining for no reason really. It just, it makes sense. But yeah, 40X. I've never watched a whole movie like this. It was well worth it though. It wasn't like nonstop. The entire movie was just shaking, but that would have been amazing, honestly. But some of it was a little more rough too than I expected. I was like, man, if somebody got caught off guard, they could have almost been thrown out of their seat. But I don't know. I loved it. Now, the actual animation of the movie, it was it was a little wacky to me. Um, just the whole design. I like it looks great. It looks fine. But you watch a lot of anime, and this style really just pops out. And it's very angular. It's very squared off, like prisms, and but then like it fits perfectly well with the movie. It fits this perfect futuristic aesthetic. So it's like it's easy to get used to, and just it kind of has an older feel of animation to it. Also, just the way their mouths move, and I don't know. It was something I got used to pretty quickly, but at first it just throws you off. It's like, wow, this isn't something I've watched a lot of. Now, another thing throughout the movie that kept just bugging me in a good way is the music sounded so familiar. And the composer of this movie, I found out after I looked it up later, is Hiroyuki Sawano. And it turns out he's also the composer for Xenoblade Chronicles X, one of my favorite games of all time. And lately, even before seeing the movie, I was listening to the soundtrack for that game all the time. And then seeing this movie and hearing the familiarity in the music, it was awesome. I was like, there's no way. It's like, it sounds so similar. And it's because it is. It's exactly similar. It's the same composer. But, man, also, I just really missed the game. I haven't played it in a long time. But, man, the music's great in both the movie and the game. I don't know. Just something I need to bring up. Also, just delighted that I'm able to distinguish music like that because I am supposed to be a more music person. Blah blah blah. Now, going into the movie, I didn't know what Redux actually constituted. I don't know like what was going to be different. I didn't even know until I looked it up again afterwards. So I think the difference is this movie had a little short about the main character that was before the rest of the movie, about 10 minutes or something. It was great. It fit in perfectly of the movie, so I didn't realize it was a different short. But there was a level of craziness I started to feel because the 40X showing was dubbed, and I completely forgot about this. All the other trailers for the other anime movies, they were subbed. So when the short started, I swear, I feel like it was also subbed. I do not remember. If you watched it too, tell me if it was subbed or not, because as soon as the dub part started, I questioned everything up until that point. I was like, oh yeah, this movie's dubbed. I was like, wait, was that first part dubbed too? Or was it subbed? I don't remember. Oh, no. It was, it bugged me. It still bugs me. I was like, I don't remember. Maybe I can look that part up too. I don't know. It was weird. It just threw me off a bit. So that was the beginning leading up to it. Uh, if you haven't seen the movie, what I'm about to say is pretty much just going to spoil everything. This is the second time they put the movie in theaters, which is great. Uh, so you've had chances, but I also understand. I don't know when it's going to come out so you can see it again, but I'm about to spoil a whole lot. And I'm going to start with the biggest spoilers right off the bat, because why not? So, what is Promare? Promare, as you come to find out, is this core in the center of the Earth of just magma, whatever, but it's actually like a sort of alien from another dimension kind of deal. And what it does is it has these other little aliens. I guess it's either part of it or they're just kind of from the same deal. And they go and possess people called the Burnish. And these Burnish are the ones who catch on fire. And in the beginning of the movie, you show, and it looks like it's people who are getting mad or getting like really worked up, who are the ones catching on fire, and it's the Burnish getting mad and reacting to the host's anger. It's not they're not necessarily like violent. They just want to burn, and that's what the whole deal is. The Burnish, as they talk about, they just keep hearing this voice that's just wanting them to burn things, and they feel like they have to burn stuff. And it was like, even though the Burnish aren't violent either, and they don't want to kill people, they can't help this like urge to do it, and that's because they're possessed by little fire alien things. But that's pretty much the plot line of the movie. You pretty much learn right away the Burnish aren't necessarily bad, even though that's the opening scene is pretty much just a fight scene between uh, Max Blazer, whatever his name was, which is Leo, as he's calling the rest of the movie, and you're pretty much able to figure out right away. Oh, okay, it's like this movie's going to be between Gallo, the main character, Leo, who is supposed to look like the villain, but is actually just misunderstood because that's how stuff happens. And then um, Governor Cray, the one who's the hero to all these people in the city, it's pretty. You can tell, and they don't try to hide it really. That like it's pretty obvious. Um, and most of it's just fighting. I mean, there's plenty of story in this one. I'm not going to go over every detail of the story because that's why you watch movies, not to hear me talk about it. Watch it, hear me talk about what I like, and then we can agree to disagree on points. But yeah, let's talk about some of the characters. So, Gallo, any other typical excited um, main character? Leo, misunderstood, supposed to be a villain, um, uh, leader of the Burnish pretty much, and both of them, you know, just keep pushing forward. It's pretty much any stereotypical shonen kind of style movie deal. So it's not really anything special from that. Um, then you have, it's not the main villain, but the first hand man of Cray, who is Vulcan, and the captain of their like firefighting team, Ignis, and it's obvious they have some kind of rivalry. There's a whole squad of people, but they don't really focus on any of them besides like a few. But one weird thing I saw, and this I might be getting mixed up too. I've only saw this movie once, so a lot of this is just coming from my memory, and I might get stuff mixed up. But when Ignis and Vulcan fight, they say their own names when they're like launching at each other. And maybe I'm mixing it up, but I don't think I am. And it's like Pokemon. It's like they're saying their own names, right? Because usually, wouldn't you say yell the other person's name that you're about to fight with? No. And then one other um, little member of the team is Vinny the Rat or Mouse, whatever. I was really glad to see more animals. I always love these little animal pets, sidekicks, whatever you call it. But there's like no big deal about him at all. You see him, he pops up. He there's pretty much actually no interaction with him, which is great because you kind of get tired of the main character having an animal sidekick. This one's just someone else's sidekick that's also not really a main character. And then you have the big bad guy, Cray, and it turns out he's a burnished too. Um, but the whole time you're watching this, and what makes him a great villain is at first you think what he's doing isn't really that villainous. It's just making the worst decisions the best way you can. So his plan is he sees like all this magma's going to rise up and destroy the earth in like 6 months. He's like, well, we made a big ship. It can take only 10,000 people, which didn't seem like a lot at all. But what was so bad is he has to use all the burnish to make like a warp portal that can like send them to another planet that they'll be able to survive on. So yeah, he's killing a lot of people on to save, but it seems like there's no other way. Turns out, once it reveals he's a burnish, he's probably only trying to escape the planet because he knows exactly what it is. He knows it's an alien. He knows he's possessed by an alien. I think he's just wanting to escape himself so he can get away from that. Hopefully, get rid of the little alien so it'll stop making him, want to burn stuff. And it's only really showed him burning at the end when he reveals he's a burnish. And the other time is what is Gallows Pass of he thinking Cray is the one who saved him from this big fire, and that's what made him a hero. But it's really Cray's the one who started fire, and that was the first time he found out he was a burnish. So yeah, I think the whole thing is a selfish just escape for him. Now, the fighting itself, I thought was great. Usually, you see in a lot of animes, a lot of fighting sequences, either the villain or the main protagonist, one of them gets beat down and they seem like they should be out for the count. Something happens and they're able to get back up and um, fight even more. What I loved about this one is while they were fighting, uh, neither one of them was actually like down. Like they start in these big mech suits, they fight, and then the mech suits get destroyed, then they're out, then they're fighting more, and they never really get beaten. Maybe they like get thrown off the building, or they get separated, but they're not beaten, and then they come back again and fight some more. And I thought it was great. There was no like cheesy cliche like I'm going to get back up and keep fighting. No, it's like they kept fighting over and over without ever actually beating another until they finally did win. The only exception to this was a fight with Leo pretty much just beating Vulcan like nothing at one point, and then Vulcan's perfectly fine later. But Vulcan's a weird character, anyways, because he's just a little itty bitty man in a big suit, which is the humor with Vulcan's character. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to say for now about the characters, the story. I really recommend going to see the movie, um, but there's some other similarities, maybe little Easter eggs to other things that are out. And of course, same studio, Studio Trigger, made Gurren Lagann, and there are plenty of similarities with that. Uh, of course, Gallo, he's pretty much just a blue-haired commoner, um, and which I already love, and it's probably what attracted me to this movie because Gurren Lagann's one of the best anime and one of the most emotional uh, anime scenes ever. Whew, it gets me. But then there's more. There's a drill. There's a part where they give him a drill, and it's like, okay, obviously Gurren Lagann reference. You can't miss it. I'm like, what else is that supposed to be? And then the whole premise of Promare in general, people catch on fire. It's a lot like Fire Force. Some people control the fire, and then it's just firefighters fighting fire. Blah blah. It's a whole lot of Fire Force similarities, but they're still completely different. If anything, the art makes them stand apart even more. But then you have the way they fight fires in Promare is they use what looks like a water hose, and what I thought was water until they actually say it's these cubes that are like absolute zero bullets or whatever, and that's how they like freeze the fire instead of water that puts it out. But yeah, and then you have Fire Force where people fighting the fires actually use the fire. But yeah, the similarities that are pretty obvious, but I'll put them out anyways. But yeah, and then to end the movie, after all the credits roll, one they start a little short sing along of the theme of song of the movie, and when whenever that right before that started, I guess someone knew it was coming because I didn't. There's like someone just yells out, "Is everyone ready to sing along?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then the sing along song came on, and then after that there was ending commentary with people from the movie, the creators and everything. That was interesting in itself. And I knew that going in. I just forgot about it. I was like, is something else coming on? I was like, I felt like I saw something, and it was. It was the commentary. So interesting on itself. I always enjoy commentary. It's always interesting to see the thoughts behind this, why they do it, why they went the route with the animation style, why they chose the music. All that stuff is just always interesting to me. But yeah, that is my Promare Redux 40X experience. What did you think? Have you seen Promare? Was you able to catch it? Did you miss the first one showing like I did and had to wait until they luckily had another one? And I don't know, maybe I'm glad I missed the first one and saw this one instead. Because if I would have saw it the first time, probably wouldn't have went and saw it again. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. Let me know what you think if you did see it. I'm the AC. Thank you for watching. Bye.